So mindfulness is the first section of the five DBT
I
courses.
know.
So, so many of us with bipolar and borderline specifically, and a lot of us have gone through DBT. A lot of us haven't. Mine was not the greatest, honestly. My office doesn't do group, and although she specializes in DBT, we didn't go like in depth with it. Mainly because she knows I'm going to do my own research. You know, a year and a half later therapy, she realizes that whatever we talk about here, I'm still going to go do my own fucking research anyway. So, what is mindfulness? Intentionally, intentionally living with awareness in the present moment, without judging or rejecting the moment, without attachment to the moment, without dwelling, being stuck in your own mind. Is Panda here? Yes. Okay, I didn't see him in the list down there. Wanted to make sure he heard this because he's one of the reasons why I chose this one because I wanted Panda to hear some of these. And I love it because the break. I mean, it's literally just waking up from the automatic or the disassociated style living. Stop going on in autopilot. Don't dwell on the fact that this is what's happening right now, and this is what I'm going to dwell on. I'm going to let it affect me for the rest of the day.
Can you explain what it feels like to be on autopilot?
To me, literally, it's like when you work at a job so long that that's what your job just goes.
Yes.
Being a cook, I was once I get contempt with my menu and the layout of my kitchen. Generally, there's a lunch rush where I'm on autopilot, and as long as everything goes smooth, there's no hiccups or hangups or crisis modes in the kitchen, I can just wing through without ever thinking about my job.
So it's a form of dissociation.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's a form of functional disassociation is the way I would word it.
Yes.
Um,
I knew what it was, but I thought that an
yeah.
explanation was good, and
No,
I
no.
like that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. No, please. Yeah, I know you've had DBT heavily, so please interact and give me some of that. Um, where we at
I
with this
never
one?
knew what autopilot was until I started therapy in college,
Yeah,
and I lived on autopilot my entire life.
and see, I was not younger. I didn't, and I still kind of never have. I kind of get stuck in a rut, but not really autopilot. I do try to stay out of functioning that way. If I go into a point of disassociation, it's gonna be generally I'm fucking laid down on the bed now. I'm probably done trained myself to go to sleep to avoid the further agitation. Um, that was all things I've kind of picked up ever since the psychosis moments back in November. No, no, because autopilot is a functional form of disassociation.
Yes.
So anything when you get into a catatonic state, we're no longer functional, but we're more vegetative then. Mindfulness skills, um, ways to practice. Meditation
Hmm.
is a good way to start. Um, this next one, it says contemplative prayer. Okay, so whichever deity you go, whether it's talking to yourself in the closet or it's a Norse god or a Christian god, it any form of spiritual mindfulness can help.
So I really don't understand meditation, and maybe it's because my brain doesn't concentrate really well.
It's,
It
you
is
need to practice your skills.
it is a learned art
Yeah,
of stilling the mind. Um, I
you
can
have
get
to practice.
I can get you in touch with a creator. Hold on, so I don't have to change screens. Somebody go into the main population and make sure the fairy is still there.
I got it.
And
I'll go.
do you like to
Okay.
read? Can you take time to read?
Me? Yeah. I like to read.
Never mind. I'll stay.
Okay, I
Yeah,
can give you
you're fine.
recommendations on what to read.
Well, and not just that, Fairy has a YouTube channel where she does some guided meditations that she has given us access to. So where I can get that channel from her eventually. She's hard to track down sometimes because she's got her own projects going. And meditation is one of the hardest things that I can point out, um,
Yeah.
or that I can even talk about because I don't do well with it. I don't do well with the prayer part. I have my own versions of prayer and my own rituals that I do, but unless it's a
Yeah.
hands-on ritual, so to speak, it doesn't. I don't focus very well. That's the ADD. But it's something that plays, that you have to play against. The other one here kind of goes with the meditation a little bit,
You're
except
frozen.
it's the movement part of it. Yoga, martial arts, just dancing, hiking, get up and move. Some of us do it in the form of cleaning. At least cleaning is a positive way, constructive way to put the effort and get your mind off of whatever it is you're focused on or indirectly dwelling on. All right, the next section, for all of you that have been through an AA or a recovery meeting, I'm sure have seen the sober, clean, what was it? Addict, sober, clean mind circles, where it's like addicts here, sobers here, or cleans here, and you want this middle ground of to make it the clean mind of both, the awareness. It's in the side chat. It's in those that's in those pictures, so you can check it out. A lot of programs, whether it be mental health or addiction, anything, they use the Mastercard diagram. Basically, the overlapping circles of bring this to this, but you want that middle sector. Mindfulness does the same thing, except they call it the reasonable mind, the emotional mind, and then the middle is the wise mind, which is what recovery calls clean mind. So we got the reasonable, rational, task focused. I gotta clean. I gotta do the dishes. I gotta get this done. I gotta get that done. That's all reasonable and reasonable only. Logical is another term you can use there if that makes more sense. The logical mind, your emotional mind, which is a lot of us have control of or have no control of, and what a lot of us struggle with is being way too emotional.
In the wise mind, you're able to make healthy choices about your life.
And yep, and the way this exactly reads, the wise mind is within each person seeking value in both the reason and the emotion and bringing the left and right brain together, because part of the reason why they say that the logical mind and the emotional mind is because that is literally two separate halves of the brain. One is on one side, one is on other half. So the functioning together takes effort because your brain is not wired to work with both halves of the brain at the same time. And that's proven in the dream theory of how many of you actually read in your dream or just look at a book and know what it says. So the REM taking over is on this half of the brain. The function that reads is over here, which is why you'll never actually be able to read a book in your dream. You'll know what it's supposed to say. The implication and the emotions will be there so that your brain will make sense of what it needs to. But to say you read a shopping list, quote unquote, in your dream, shouldn't happen. Shouldn't. But yes, the point is to bring the middle path together so that you can feel your emotions about your decisions. You can make a rational decision based on both the logical good and bad and the emotional conflict. Ideas for practicing wise mind. Let's see, stone flake on a lake. Imagine you are by a clear lake on a sunny day. Imagine that you are a small flake of stone, flat light. Imagine you were tossed out to the lake, now gently, slowly floating through the calm blue. Yeah, that don't make no sense. just activities for focused meditation is what it pretty much is. It's a breathing exercise on number three, which I like all ours better anyway. But the affirmation of saying to yourself there, mind wise in, mind out, can remind you that you're working on mindfulness in that moment. So I could see where that might help as you breathe your counts out.
You could incorporate some music when you're doing your meditation.
Yeah, and that's where I was going with about Fairy, because she has the music background, the guided meditation, and everything to help beginners do that. She's pretty good. That's her focus of her digital niche. Um, and me, honestly, like I said, meditation for me fucking sucks. I suck at it. My brain will not slow down long enough for me to do meditation very well.
But you have other things that you do. Like,
Yeah,
what do you do?
like my art,
Yeah.
the drawing I do. This, honestly, what we do here every day is one of my outlets of staying in the moment of something rather than dwelling on what I do
Keeping yourself grounded.
and focused on a task oriented
Yeah.
position. And it keeps me from dwelling on the fact that I haven't seen my daughter since Chris in a month, over a month now.
Right.
um yeah, it's part of my safety mechanism for my emotions. I very much do utilize an out of sight, out of mind concept when it comes to my emotional connections. It's not that just because you're not around, I don't care about you, but if you're not in my face at that moment, it's not relevant to what I'm doing in at this time. Give me 5 minutes, let me get done and get to where you're back in my face, and we're. But that's a disconnect I created back when I was bounty hunting and working at the club, and so I had to do things as a bail bondsman that's on the bounty hunting side, that really twisted and warped my sense of morality. Yeah, you muted, Jen.
That would help you to hear me if I wasn't muted. Duh.
Mm.
Duh. Anyway, I think I'm quite like you because I haven't seen my two boys in a couple of years. And you think I'd be crying myself to death. But I hide it, I bury it so it doesn't bother me so that I continue about my day.
Yes, me too.
Now, it's not
I
that I don't think about them.
No, no. See, that's the thing. Part legitimately, there's a lot of there'll be days that I didn't have an active thought of my kid because
Yeah,
she got
right. I get
too
that.
because she was too far down on the text list, and there was nothing to remind me that I hadn't spoke to her in a
Right.
week.
And I feel
Um,
bad when I
and it,
miss talking to my children.
yeah, and no, I struggled for the first couple of weeks with just that being my coping mechanism. Like I'm
I
choosing
mean,
not to think about her.
Yeah.
but I know if I
Totally
really
get.
think about it, I would cry all day, every day, and I would
Well,
not be able to live life.
not all day, but sometimes you
No,
have
literally,
to, of
I
course.
would cry all
It
day.
it'd be a lot different if I didn't have this program project. If I didn't have my and a lot of y'all at this point. Um,
So,
I keep saying Ma because Ma's the one that got through to my life to talk me off the ceiling, off the roof, or the window sill, better yet. And that was October 27th, and the closest I've ever come. Um,
And I mean, at the end of the day, the only one that I can blame for me being in this situation is me.
yes, but I hear you saying how you're so hard on yourself. You are in a different place now. You can
Because
only
it wasn't my
here
fault.
and now. The here and
I
now.
feel like if I would have never got with that man, I would have never got on drugs. If
But
I
you
would have
can't.
never got on drugs, I would have never lost my kids.
I understand. I've made so many mistakes in my life.
and dwelling on that right there,
Can't.
is what we're working on not doing.
That's where you're stuck and you're healing. You have to get past the dwelling.
Dwelling on that feeling right there is exactly what we're. So now we're gonna come back to me. We're gonna forget about those memories, breathe through it, because actually the next section is taking hold of your mind. The what skills.
We ain't criticizing you or judging you.
Oh no,
Oh, baby, I spent a year
this is
without
actually
my kids after we got out of probation. It took us almost a year
this is
for.
actually safe where I can talk.
I feel like the worst mom in the world because I can't raise two of my children. And we made the best choice for our boys, but it was also because of my disorder. I
Am I?
couldn't own.
So when we start getting to a point where we're losing focus on the moment, what's one of the
Uh-uh.
first things me and Ma do? First thing we go to, that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yep, you gotta breathe.
There, okay. So the first section of that is we're gonna try to stop getting to that point,
Yes.
and so we're gonna pay attention to the body sensations, what's happening. And here it says what's coming through your eyes, ears, nose, skin, tongue. Sound
How
familiar? Sound
is it?
familiar? I mean, literally, we go. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you taste or smell? What do you touch? What can you taste? That's the countdown on how we do it. Pay
Yep.
That's how you
attention.
prove yourself.
Pay attention on purpose. So
You
you make the active choice to okay, where I'm gonna focus on the meeting because he's talking. I'm not gonna listen. Think about that argument this morning with mom or the doctor. I'm not gonna dwell on that, Panda. You know, grandpa. I mean, I can name off a theory for every one of you, and I can. We'll stop there.
Mm.
control control your attention, but not what you see. Okay, now that's right. Push away nothing, cling to nothing. Don't dismiss what's going on around you, even in your own head and your own feelings. Don't try to just dismiss the paranoia of okay, what I just wrote is going to cause me problems. Don't dismiss it, understand it, but focus on the next thing. That's the doctor actually coming in. So we're not going to, in that meantime, we're not going to let our brain control and dictate whatever animation it picks up in its head. And I say I do it too, Panda. I do.
and
That's
when you walk
that's what
sorry.
that's what got me on the window on October 27th. Was it when 3 days worth of what the fuck's gonna happen? Who is who? Where how? I ended up exactly where my theory on the October 27th brought me. Exactly the way I thought it was gonna be. Is that how it's played out? But over pressuring that concept and this may happen. That's what drove me. And I was literally tied up and bolted to the window. I was
Oh,
tied to a bar that was bolted to the window frame on 2-inch lag bolts
Dang,
with fucking 4 disc fusion in my neck. No, 15-foot drop.
mm.
you've
Done.
been gone.
Done. Yeah. And that's what scares me so much about my idealization because just in the BPD alone, since we're going into this part,
Mm.
1 in 7 patients attempt suicide in the first 5 years of being diagnosed. Of that 1 in 7, 10% succeed. Um, I'm old enough and know enough about physics, general mechanics, and anatomy to know how to not be a survivor, basically. And that's what scares me. Because
Yeah.
the moment I make the attempt, I don't expect to fail. But
But
beyond that,
you won't allow yourself to get there because of that.
right? Yeah, I mean definitely. Not again. That was the
Right.
first and closest I'd ever come. There was some idle fucking threats way early in our marriage that were like sleeping pills or something, but it was young and stupid and probably a little narcissistic because I was, 19 and 20. I just left the military, very toxic terms. I was mean ass for about 3 years after I got out of the military, like straight.
No, I wouldn't believe it.
No, I hated the world.
Did you?
As nice as y'all see me now, I was exactly polar opposite. I was mad at the world. I had survivor's guilt about my own shit because like why did I even survive? I should have
What?
died.
Or is
Yeah.
it agree?
Yeah, it was major grief. It was the whole loss of identity when I lost that. Everything about me was gone.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure, other than my dad dying, almost exactly a year before, and then that wreck happening the same month, a year later, is probably the start of where my shit broke. Um, because it was only 3 years later that my friend shot himself in my living room by accident. So, next section it says describe, and the only one that doesn't fall back into the counting again, it says here unglue your interpretations and your opinions and talk about only what the facts you see. If you're in that moment and you're trying to talk about what happened or trying to just push through it because you're in therapy, focus on the facts of it and not letting your emotion. All you're doing is telling a story. Yes, a lot of our stories, especially in therapy, they fucking suck. Most and me too, Heather. I'm gonna be the one that once I get moved, I've got a whole bunch of unpacking to do that hasn't even started of memories I don't have. So, um, God only knows what the next year tells in my therapy.
Right.
Um, the next section says participate. Throw yourself into activities of the current moment. Jump in the server. Go hang out. Cut up. Hell, any one. A couple of things I wrote down. Mindfulness is the basic human ability, and this is the Google definition, by mind you. Mindfulness is the basic human ability to be fully present, aware of where we are and what we are doing, and not overly reactive. BPD, thank you. Or overwhelmed by what's going on around us. This exercise right here is going to help you be able to go grocery shopping easier with your social anxiety. It's actually a form of how we do it when we body double. And again, Sunshine, I have to use you as an example. When she was just in the car today, having us with her was her way of being mindful of staying focused and not focusing on what he's
Yeah.
trying to push or talk to me about. Sometimes it takes artificial assistance to be mindful because that moment or that situation going grocery shopping, it's that much, that hard sometimes. I've got a video on TikTok that I recorded me going into to get my medicine one time after this divorce happened. Or actually, I think it might have been before it. And there's literally footage of me. I ended up all the way around from pharmacy. I ended up in the fucking kids' clothes section before I found an alley that I could get to the front and out the door. Because I just literally ended up in the weaving my way through the store, avoiding people. It hadn't been the first time I'd been in that Walmart or any Walmart alone in fucking 2 3 years. Yeah, and my only sense of mindfulness in that moment was my sheer safety. Like actively looking back at it, no, nobody was gonna at me or come at me, but my general psychosis had me weaving through aisles, avoiding other people. I forget I don't have anybody reading the chat with me. Hold on. Da, da, da. Let's go.
unable to love us appropriately because they don't know how, or they're ignorant, but they have their own traumas, their own things that's unresolved.
Well, also, it's hard for people to love us with these disorders if we don't know the disorder as best we can.
Right.
And I'm a firm believer in that, especially with my ex-wife, my marriage, my ex-wife. Part of
I
It's that my
what?
dad.
Go ahead.
It's it's that my dad is mad because I won't call him, but I won't call him because it hurts.
Right. I understand that.
I think my people have trouble really loving me because they don't understand me and they don't know what
Even
it's like to live like me.
That's just it. People don't, when they are like that, they don't understand.
Baby, I
even though my
feel
dad lives in Oklahoma, so he makes
But
me feel like shit by talking bad about me to all my family, and then I have to hear it from them. Well, you don't call him. Well, you don't get it.
yeah.
You don't call him so that you don't have to put up with him. Totally valid. He sounds like an
No,
asshole.
I don't call him so I don't have to put up with my stepmother. It's
Can
not
I
him, it's my stepmother. My stepmother is
and I
time
can
I call him. He has something smart to say, like she calls me the problem child, or are you still clean, or have do you have a job?
You're 30
go?
years old or better. You're no child any longer.
You
That's
don't have to
even.
put up with that.
Like I just want to fucking punch her in her face and catch a case and not care.
You
That's
should
how
totally.
much I hate this woman.
I understand hating your parents, believe me.
She was nothing like my mother.
Yes. But you're stuck there,
Sorry,
so you got to work on this. Don't
I
let
broke
them
down.
bring you down.
no, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. It's fine. It's fine.
No, no reason to be sorry.
Yeah, cause let me tell you, I know it's a little bit twisted in the way, but I know I
But I
didn't call Paige once during our violation. I didn't call her and talk to. I talked to my sister, and that was it. Because it was too hard to try to talk to my daughter on a jail phone in a Class A unit where one fucking tear and a red face like that would can get you stabbed.
exactly. And if I was in prison, I wouldn't want my dad to bring him there. That's no place for a child, especially an autistic child. He doesn't understand.
So
You can specify in your visitor paperwork that you do not want to see specific visitors.
yeah,
They don't want a freaking situation like that because it'll upset the whole freaking area quickly. You could
But
put
I'll tell
yourself
you
in
this
a moment.
much: if
Jennifer,
they want,
go ahead, Heather.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, no, go ahead.
Boundaries. You need
Yeah,
to set your boundaries.
maintain them. She looks like they're sad. You just need to maintain them.
Yes, you need to be firm in your decisions,
And if you
and
haven't
don't
seen
ever.
it, go find the YouTube channel. We actually have a video posted of it of that says boundaries, and Ma
Yes.
did a really good lesson on that.
telling y'all right now, Ottawa County Jail ain't getting me unless they come and get me. I'm not turning myself in now. Nope.
But hold on a minute. Can I
Is
ask
that
you a
what it's gonna do
question?
me?
Yeah,
What's keeping you from going sooner than later? May I ask?
because I will die in prison.
I'm
Do
going to tell
you
you
really
this much.
know?
If you turn yourself in, you can wear underwear that they would allow you to keep instead of going without underwear for God knows how long. And you can do it on your terms. It's not all bad.
I
No,
would be going to the most dangerous women's prison in Oklahoma. This
Oh,
girl got murdered, and they told her family that she hung herself, which was a lie, and they waited 24 hours to notify the family.
There ain't no such thing as a safe prison anywhere in the world.
no.
That's
no, I
everywhere.
agree with you there,
Any
Nugget.
prison can be dangerous.
I do agree with you there, Nuggy. And you know, a lot of us with heavier mental disorders, we feel that way. We get that. It may not be thought regulate dysregulation like yours. You know, mine's emotional dysregulation. Um, you know,
But you know, Jennifer, you can work on yourself in there too, still.
I always knew I was hard to love, but I
You're a
didn't
strong
understand.
woman.
I didn't understand why. And
Oh, it's hot in
if I don't understand why, how could I expect my wife to? You
That's
spent
right.
okay.
That's
Panda said
exactly it.
they went and found that link and sent you the video specifically,
Okay.
so you can find it easier. Thank you, Panda.
Panda's so good at that stuff.
Panda really does make a pretty good personal assistant.
Yes, I know.
We keep
I'm
growing.
not ready to go. I'm
That one.
We keep growing,
I
and
know.
I might have a spot for him like that, but
Yes. There's nothing in it.
and I edit everything out.
okay.
The three components of mindfulness that they want you to come, you know, one word thing: intention, attention, and attitude. Choosing to cultivate the awareness. That means waking
It's
up every day to focus on today, this minute, this moment, the next moment, not yesterday.
mindset. Yes.
And that's the attention part. Present moment sensations, focusing on what's around you. And the attitude, be kind, courteous, and non kind, curious, and non-judgmental.
You know, you can practice mindfulness in the shower. When you're taking a shower, how does that water make you
Yeah,
feel?
yeah. Focusing on the water, the heat, the
Yeah.
clean feeling instead
Washing
of
it right.
just
Yeah.
getting in there and okay, I'm taking the shower, which is
Yeah.
me, I'm like, okay, fucking goddamn shower.
You can practice mindfulness anywhere you are.
That's kind of what I have to do in my shower. My heat or my hot water doesn't stay on long because I have a 5 gallon water tank.
Yeah,
At least prison has a pretty hot shower.
That's true.
I'm just saying that hot water don't never run out.
and just remember,
The
for
shower
everybody
time runs out
that's
before the water
struggling
does.
with the depression or the negativity, our life is shaped by our mind. Ultimately, we do become what we think about the most.